Hey, this is Glenn, and I'm going to share with you some more Stranger Things from the Stranger Things series. And this is something that I've really wanted to talk about for some time because here at Lithos Cry and through the Raven's Heart podcast and live stream, we talk a lot about music. And music is one of the biggest factors that makes the Stranger Things series so appealing. All of the 80s songs that they played during the series really sparked the nostalgic flames. However, they take it a step further in season 4, especially in season 4, episode 4, Dear Billy, where Max is freed from the grips of a demon through music. Is this, again, just science fiction, something made up for a great storyline, or is there some truth to this? Well, as we're going to talk about, there is truth to it. I want to talk about demons and music for a moment. But before we talk about that, I'd like to talk about how demons affect us and how they impact us. And this ties in with the song that we're going to talk about, Kate Bush's Running Up That Hill, A Deal with God. In the book entitled Shadowboxing, the Dynamic 2-5-14 Strategy to Defeat the Darkness Within by Dr. Henry Malone, I have a copy here, and yes, I have read it. He wrote, the third open door to demonic activity is the door of emotional trauma. These hurts are inner wounds caused by sudden physical injury or emotional shock. Emotional trauma causes lasting damage to the psychological, spiritual, and emotional development of a person. So Dr. Malone, what he's saying is that one of the ways that demons enter our lives and affect our lives, affect our mind, affect our physical body, and affect even our spiritual growth is through either mental or physical trauma. This is a gateway or a portal. And you'll notice in Stranger Things season 4, the demon Vecna, the way that he targets his victim, he targets those that have experienced extreme physical or mental trauma. But this whole thing about music affecting demons and loosening their grip on people, is this something that we can find in Scripture? Yes, there is, and I'm going to take you back to the Old Testament, and no, I'm not going to bore you, because this is actually quite fascinating. In 1 Samuel chapter 16, verses 14 through 23, we learn that King Saul was tormented by an evil spirit. Well, his attendants, they realized that he was being tormented by an evil spirit, and they asked him, Saul, can we go out and find a musician for you to play the lyre to ease your torment? So Saul's attendants here, they realized that music had an impact on the demonic and on evil spirits. And Saul said yes, and they went out and they found a musician, and it turned out to be the future King David who played the lyre. And this is what it said that happened when David played his lyre. Whenever the Spirit of God came on Saul, David would take up the lyre and play, and the evil spirit would leave him. And yes, God did release an evil spirit on King Saul. That is another discussion for another day. So one of the things that I find very interesting about episode 4 of season 4 of Stranger Things is the song that they chose. And that's Kate Bush's Running Up That Hill, also known as A Deal with God, that came out in 1985. It's one of my personal favorite songs, and really it's had deep spiritual meaning to me because every time I hear that song, I think about what Jesus did for us on the cross of Calvary in Isaiah chapter 53. In Isaiah chapter 53, it says, surely he took up our pain and bore our suffering, yet we considered him punished by God, stricken by him, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we were healed. A deal was made for each of us through Jesus' death upon the cross of Calvary. But in this episode of season 4, the character Max, she is being tormented by Vecna to the point of death and being dragged into hell. A rather very powerful scene. But when she hears the song Running Up That Hill, A Deal with God by Kate Bush, it releases her from Vecna's grips. Now, can music save our souls? No, it can't, but it can loosen the grips of the demonic. Now, music can also do the same thing. It can exacerbate the demonic as well. It can go either way. But this song I find particularly interesting because Nora Felder, the music director for Stranger Things. This is what she said. A deal with God could heart-wrenchingly reflect Max's implicit belief that only a miracle of unlikely understanding and show of support could help her climb the hills before her. That's all of us. We're all like Max. We all need that implicit belief that only a miracle can get us over the hills that we're facing. And that miracle is through what Jesus Christ did on the cross over 2,000 years ago. The song, Running Up the Hill, A Deal with God by Kate Bush, it's written in a way that it can mean many different things to many different people. And one of the things that I like about that, because it's widely written, it gives room for the Spirit of God to move. Take a listen to that song and think about Isaiah chapter 53. And here's what's really awesome, is all of us in our lives have experienced trauma, whether it be physical, mental, or emotional trauma. And Jesus took that trauma upon the cross of Calvary when he was on the cross. That's what happened. It says it in Isaiah chapter 53. He has permanently healed our wounds. Now, is this going to happen instantaneously? No. But the first step is by putting faith in Jesus. So yes, music does affect the demonic realm. It can either exacerbate the demonic realm or it can loosen the grip of demons. And something that I want to point out is that when it said David played the lyre for Saul and the tormenting spirit left him, it doesn't say what kind of music David was playing. There is no law written about what the music is. We just know that it had an effect on the demon. And this could be different for different people. So I want you to keep that in mind. It was not liturgical church music. Probably not. It doesn't say what it was. God leaves that open because each of us are built differently. Each of our experiences are different, and music moves us in different ways. We just need to remember that. But it is Jesus who saves our soul. And that is why worship is so important, because worship loosens the grip of the demonic so that we can hear the word of the Lord and what Jesus is speaking to us. Until next time, peace out and rock on.